Good morning, Merry Christmas, and welcome to the Bond Sunday morning services. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. You can get involved with today's topic by calling 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663. You can also email us, church@bondinfo.org, church@bondinfo.org, and turn your cell phone off, because I heard that beep, and I'm about to say and turn your, but put your name and town on it, all right? Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Make sure you turn your phones off if you don't have them off already. Last Sunday I said that when you come, you should come with questions, with problems, with solutions and all that kind of stuff, and not just, come for the preacher to tell you all the answers. Because if I tell you all the answers all the time, then I'm the only one that's getting better. And so I couldn't wait for today, because I knew you guys thought about this all week. You had a life. And also today is the last Sunday before Christmas. And I just knew that when I got here this morning, you had a lot of questions and revelations about Christ. Since Christ is the reason for the season. And so I can't wait to find out, when you guys got up this morning, what did you think about Christ? Did you think about him at all? Did you realize Christmas is about Christ, or did you think it was about you? Isn't that interesting? So before I get rolling into my thing, the year is winding down. We had to endure all year. So all of that is part of what we're going to talk about today, all right? And then I'll have my own little input. But I want to give you a chance to talk about Christ, what he means to you, or whatever is on your mind. Yes, sir?
Yeah. I just thought about it this morning.
You just thought about Christ this morning?
Yeah, I did. Because, when my focus is always on God, the Father. But, I rarely think about Christ. Rarely.
You think about God, but not Christ?
That's right.
Are they two different people?
It's the Father and the Son.
And so are they two different people?
There's in other words, there's a big mystery about it, because supposedly there's the Holy Trinity, and it's all one. It's one God, and most of the Christian religions believe that Jesus is God, and so I wonder about all that.
So you don't know if Christ and God are two different people?
Well, there's one thing I know. There's the Father and there's the Son. And, throughout the Bible, it states it clearly on many, 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 many occasions, okay, where the reference is being made Father and Son. You see, so I believe in the Father and in the Son, but for some reason that this is all one, and that Jesus Christ is God. Something doesn't jive here.
So you don't know if they're two different people?
All I can say is there's a Father and there's a Son.
Are they two different people?
I don't know. Yes, they have to be. There's a Father and there's a Son. Yes, they have to be.
So you say yes, they are two different people?
I don't know. I don't know.
You got other people answering for you.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
If you saw them. But when you think about God, you don't think about the Son, you just think about the Father.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, what also occurred at that moment when I thought of that, I said, I really would love to know more about it. I really would like to see what this really is. How come, Jesus being our Savior, okay, how come I don't think of him as often?
Right.
How come it doesn't come to mind? I don't know.
Were you a Catholic at one point?
Oh, yes.
And what did they teach about the Father and the Son?
Obviously they talk also about the Father and the Son, but what I have a problem with is that Jesus is God. That doesn't make sense.
The Catholic told you that Jesus
Oh, yeah,
is God.
absolutely. Oh,
Did you believe them?
Well, when you are a child, you kind of just take over what your parents
Right.
do.
How about as an adult? Did you, when
No, I
you
don't-
were adult,
I-
when you were
no,
Catholic?
You know what? I have a big problem with that, considering that Jesus would be God.
But if you don't think about the Son, you just think about the Father, why would that be a problem? You're not really thinking about both of them anyhow.
No, that's not the problem. The problem is that most Christian religions consider Jesus as God. I have a problem with that.
Why?
You know what? There's a contradiction. That would contradict what it says in the Bible completely. I don't know how many times there are, probably 10, 20 or more references in the Bible that there's a Father, there's the Son, there's Jesus, and there's God the Father.
Let me ask, what does God or Christ mean to you? Have you noticed that most people a lot of people who believe in God are like going insane?
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed that? I wonder why that's happening so much now. I mean, literally going mentally ill on me.
Time of the end is near. Well, you know what? If I can answer that, he is the creator of everything.
That's why they're going insane?
Huh?
That's why the people going crazy?
Well, I don't know about that. I have no idea about that.
I was talking to a man yesterday who told me that he had quit his job. He had a great job too. And he quit his job because the Lord started talking to him on his job. And the Lord showed him how, there were too many sinners around, and evil just everywhere. And the Lord told him to quit his job. And I said, so did the Lord give you another job? And he like, no, the Lord working on me now. I'm like, so you think God showed you evil at work so you can quit and not have a job to pay your bills? Yeah, you just don't understand. The Lord was talking to me. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
I was just going to say, I kind of, like, when he was talking about the Father and the Son and how they're separate, or Jesus, to me, I just think God is God and God is not a person. But I think that Jesus is the Son of God, like we all are the children of God. And I think I don't think that Jesus is not God. I think he's like a physical manifestation of God. And I think that he possesses divinity within him just like everyone does. Like I see it more as like a total thing or as a whole thing. I do think that it's all one.
Yeah.
And I think that the point of Jesus is really just that we can all see that we all can be just like him, that it's not like a separation.
Right.
You know what I mean? But to me, the whole thing about like, is Jesus God or is God God? It's just like, it's all, I just feel like it kind of takes away from what the point is of the whole purpose of Jesus having come here.
What was his purpose?
I think his purpose was to come here to show us that what I can do, so can you. And don't have me be separate from you, and don't, I feel like a lot of times in churches, it's like everyone's like stands there and sings and worships and praises, and that's great and everything, but I think the point is to get like, you can do what I can do, so
Right.
Don't make me separate from you and have me above you. We're
And
all the same.
Are you doing great works as he did? Are you doing as Christ did?
Am I doing as he did? I'm not turning water into wine or anything. That's what you're saying. No, but
If you do, make sure it's Merlot.
Exactly. But I think that there is definitely I see it as like almost like a level of consciousness that we can reach as human beings. And that's the thing, to me, it's not totally just a Christian thing. Like, that kind of actually falls into other religions as well. It's like a level of consciousness that you reach that has you able to do the things that Jesus was doing. Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, I just think I just think that it's his purpose of being here is to teach us that we can do everything that he can do, and to be like him, not to stand back and worship him and go, oh, you're amazing, but I will never be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's what happens a lot.
Interesting. So are you becoming like him?
I think, yeah. I mean, I feel like in the spirit of what he represented, and like loving everyone, and you know, and
You love
not
everyone?
judging. Yeah, I mean, I do, and I think like that to me, like I feel like when he was saying that, I kind of have the opposite experience. But I think of Jesus, I do think of Christ all the time, but I don't think of it as separate.
Right.
I just feel like Jesus is a representation of what God is. It's love, and it's like, and all giving and generosity, like all of those things that he did are what God is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like,
I do understand. And how do you know you love everyone?
well, because I don't. I just think the only thing I can do is you know when you love someone, but I think to accept everyone and to accept them in whatever way that they are, and to love them where they're at, even if you can see like, you know, this may be something that's not working for them in their life, or this is something
Right.
that, you know, is going on, but not to judge them about it. I think that's love.
And Wayne Jr., what does Christ mean to you?
Mean to me?
Do you think about Christ anytime?
Yeah, like praying coming up, like
Is
always.
it necessary to have your foot on the furniture?
Yeah.
White people love to put their foot on the furniture at your house.
It's for medical reasons.
Oh, okay.
Marijuana too, right?
I thought it was a white thing.
Smokes marijuana for medical reasons.
You smoke marijuana for medical reasons?
Oh yeah, I smoke like 5 times a day.
I was sitting there here at the restaurant down the street yesterday, and there was a marijuana store right down the street. And it was amazing the number of young people that were going into there to get some drugs. I mean, I didn't realize that many people went in there. And they had the door open, you just walk right in and get yourself a joint and walk out. I mean, they were pulling up like they were going to the drug dealer.
Should have started a sermon there, huh?
I'm telling you.
There's pizza next door, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, they have a pizza parlor right next door, so you get high. Go next door and eat. But I did not know that many people went into that place.
They can make $100,000 a week.
Really? And you could smell the marijuana all the way down the street. You can get high sitting up there waiting for your pizza. It's amazing that this is happening like
Pizza
that.
place will make $100,000 a week too. Huh?
You can literally walk into a store and buy drugs now, buy some marijuana. God, don't you
Is
wish
there
you
any
could,
difference in going into the store and buying liquor?
don't you wish you could go back to being young again and they had these stores?
I can do it now.
He's like, I'm not done.
Yes.
You know, it's so bad now. There's so many dispensaries, so many people getting marijuana, that even the liberal Democrats even they are the ones who are making the laws now to try to knock these places down and make fewer of them.
Yeah.
But you know
What-
what? I also did hear a couple days ago, that there's an increase in teenagers smoking pot. Like there's been
I
a large
can see
increase,
why.
but there's been a large decrease in teenagers doing like hard drugs, like methamphetamines, cocaine.
Oh, I
Like,
feel better now.
no, but really, like they're
I'm
but it's,
safer now. They're just how
but
we
really,
driving down the road.
crystal meth is some.
Yeah, no, I feel
that's
that.
worse than marijuana.
Huh?
It is from the earth, right?
Yeah, it's from the earth. But wait, Junior, what does Christ mean to you?
You know, I would say when I coming up, like I always would pray like to my Lord Jesus Christ, you know, like, and then I guess I started thinking about it. I mean, generally speaking, I just think of like, you know, God, you know, is like a, you know, the know all, the one being. It's not like a human, but I don't even think it's anything I can begin to understand. I just, you know, I pray to God, and that's really it. As far as Christ, like I know, you know, stories of Christ and things like that,
Right.
but
you kind
there's
of
confusion there because, like, the Holy Trinity, like you said, you know, refer to that, and there's a Father and a Son, but then I just feel like it's kind of the same It's on the same area, the same
Oh,
thing.
okay. Interesting. How about you, Ernest? You thought about Christ
Yeah,
at Christmas?
yeah, thought about it throughout the year because that theme that we had, endure.
Right.
So when I'm going through certain things and I'm kind of reminding myself to endure, it kind of brings me back to thinking about Christ.
Yeah.
So in that way, I've been thinking about him.
Oh, you think about it when you're going through.
Yeah, and I have to endure something that, and that theme, that theme has helped me, just kind of thinking about that.
Right.
Just kind of thinking about enduring. Just the concept of enduring itself has helped me kind of get through certain situations.
And what is the best way to endure?
Just to relax and, deal with whatever issues come up as they come up and not overreact, be calm. And just that whole concept, to me, has been helpful.
Okay. How about you, Larissa? What does Christ mean to you?
He is,
Are you surprised I said your name?
yes, I am.
See that?
I'm even shocked.
I am too. It just popped in my head. And I think because I got an email from a woman by the name of Larissa that we've been trying to get to on my radio show. And by the way, the Bible Go-To guy is going to be on the air every day this week, except for Friday because we're not doing the show. So he's going to answer all your questions about everything. The Bible Go-To guy is something else. He's more than a notion. But anyway, Larissa, what does Christ mean to you?
For me, Christ is, he is the Savior. He is the Messiah, meaning that when I go through my day, my goal is to, for lack of a better word, to live up to what he has done for me and what he has empowered me to do. His death on the cross for my sins and for the purpose of my living victoriously. And so each day, challenges and struggles and joys, I attribute to my desire to keep looking toward the cross and moving from my point A to his point B.
And we say looking toward the cross. How do you look toward the cross?
Look toward what he has done, what his life and death and his resurrection means.
How about you, Wayne? How about
What do I don't know. I haven't given much thought to Jesus Christ.
You don't think much about him?
No.
Do you think about God?
I think about God, yes.
And why not Christ? Why don't you think about Christ?
I don't know. I just don't feel that there's two gods. I think there's just one.
And what does God mean to you?
He's basically our Heavenly Father. He's the one that's created all of this for us. And God watches over us. I'd say to help us in our times of need. And support us, give us strength.
He watches over us, helps us in our time of need, support us and give us strength. And that's what God means. How about you, Chad? You thought about Christ? You guys are exciting today. I knew it was going to be real exciting.
Well, I think about, God and Christ and how God sent Jesus here to be, the example for us. And it just brings me back to myself. If I'm being, an example and things of that nature, just brings me back to me. And if I can be the example to my kids or,
What type of example?
the good example of, how not to hate people even though they're doing you wrong. I think about Jesus dying on the cross and wonder if, if I could sacrifice like that. I don't know if I can.
Would you down the cross for your children?
I hope I'm able to do that. I'm not sure.
You hope that you can down the cross for them?
Yeah, I would say that I would, but if the time
We're
came,
going to take this one down. Let's get it done.
you're gonna need a big one.
Your legs flat on the floor.
Yeah.
And why would you hope to down the cross for your children?
What would I hope to?
That you would be able to do that?
Well, because if he was sent here, to go through that without hating, then I hope I'm able to go through it without hating and just be able to do what Father told me to do.
Oh, okay.
Or fulfill, his will.
Interesting. Baby, what does Christ mean? You think about Christmas?
Yes,
And what does Christ mean to you? What do you think about when you think of Christmas?
To me, like it's life to me, where it used to be so distant and so far away.
Christmas is life?
I thought I was talking about Christ.
Okay,
not
Christ.
really-
Go ahead, Christ.
Yeah, it was the spirit, that was embarrassing to me for most of my life and really was trying to correct me, now is like close to me, where before it was far away. So it's real special now, that I really appreciate what's happened in my life, and I'm thankful inwardly. I don't necessarily speak to him, but I really appreciate it, and
You don't speak to who?
well, to Christ, or I just am.
Why don't you speak to him?
Well, I don't need to. I don't need to use words, but I just have that thankfulness, and that he's able to show me the light and the darkness, and so I don't have to live by the darkness anymore. And it's just a whole different life for me.
How about you, Ted?
The question is,
Christ.
what do I think about?
Well, yeah, who was Christ to you? Or do you think about Christ?
Yeah, sometimes I do.
But your focus is more on God?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think about both of them, I guess, from different times. So,
And do they mean anything to you?
yes.
What?
Well, Christ, I believe that Christ is God's Son, the Savior, and that through that God sent him, and that through his sacrifice, that's for my sins, and that I can be restored to, I can be reconciled to God through what he did for me, and I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
Oh. You guys are really deep tonight. This morning. I'm excited to be here. Yes.
Me.
Yeah, you had your hand?
I don't know, maybe changing gears a little bit,
Okay.
but you mentioned last week about entering the kingdom of heaven.
Yes.
That just kind of stuck with me, and I asked God to show me what that meant. And when I was praying, I realized what it meant. And I'd love for you to expand on that a little bit.
What does it mean?
It means staying in the moment, staying in that present. And if you stay in that present, then you will enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Are you able to do that?
I'm paying more attention to it, but very little.
Very little?
Yeah.
Very little what? You're able to stay in the presence.
Yeah.
It is interesting how near the kingdom of heaven is. It's just like that to enter in. It's right at hand. But because we've been so dumbed down in the way about Christ and about the kingdom and all that, it's difficult for people to enter in. And when I see it, it's amusing to see it almost. How something can be so near but yet so far away from people. It's right at hand. It's just like that. Just like that. But you got to go dumb in order to enter in. You cannot enter in as a bright person. You got to go dumb to get into the kingdom. Yes, ma'am.
So what does that mean? You have to go dumb.
Everything that you've been taught about it, you have to let it go because it's been a setup for you. from day one you've been taught wrong about the kingdom and what it is, what it means, and how to enter in. And so a lot of people are trying to, because of how we've been taught, people are trying to get in by way of what they learned about it. And it doesn't look like what they've learned about it. It's nothing like what they've learned. And Christ made that clear when he was around. He said, it's right at hand, go within. It is just there. The kingdom of heaven is upon us. But you got
mean like within us, like in meditation, and is that what you're saying? Because you keep saying what it's not. I'm just a little trying to figure out what you're saying it is.
Well, I haven't said yet what it is. I'm just telling you what it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not what you've been told.
Right.
You cannot enter in the way that you've been told.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you do enter into the kingdom, living it is nothing like what you've been told. Mm-hmm. You know, I realized yesterday, I think I said this to Frankie, I noticed that the kingdom of hell and the kingdom of heaven, when you're in the kingdom of heaven, you can have fun in life. And when you're in the kingdom of hell, you can have fun too. Like you can sing, you can dance, you can have a good time. But the only difference is the motive behind what you're doing, according to whatever kingdom you live in. Mm-hmm. But you still have fun, you relax, you enjoy your life. But the motive is different. I'm thinking, wow, that's interesting how that is. But a lot of Christians have been told that, you know, if you're a Christian, you can't have fun because God doesn't want you to have fun like that. And so a lot of people don't even want to be Christians. Why would you want to be a Christian and can't have fun in life? Yeah. And so if you do see a real Christian having fun, the fake Christian judge the real Christian because they think the real Christian is the sinner. Isn't that weird? Mm-hmm. But it's very true. It's amazing. That's why you got to go dumb, because it's nothing like what you think it is in order to enter into. And the moment you go dumb, the moment you will enter in. Isn't that amazing? No? Yeah. It's absolutely amazing. I saw a hand here first somewhere. I forgot who I saw. Did I answer your question, Larissa?
You answered my question. However, I guess you're not telling how to do it yet. I mean, I heard what you said, but you know. Okay.
No, but what? That's why we're here to fellowship. But what?
I guess the question is, how do you let go and forget everything that you thought or been taught? You know, how do you go dumb?
Right.
How do you? One of the things I thought about this week is what you said your theme will be for next year. Trust the truth.
Yes.
How do you know it when you see it to trust it?
How do you know the truth when you see it to trust it? How do you know it when you see it to trust it? Very good question. And the answer is, you will know it. But you will know it, and I can't get into it now because it's going to be for next year, so you have to hold on with, like, don't die.
But that goes back to the question that we're talking about today.
Yeah.
You know, what does Christ mean to you? And walking into or entering into the kingdom.
So far, everything I've heard about Christ has come from, in this room today, maybe except for one person, it has come from knowledge about Christ. We all been told, we all been read that he was just Son of God, and, you know, he was pretty cool, and, you know, and that kind of knowledge is keeping people away from entering into the kingdom.
Right. So how do you?
Which is true. It's true, but it blocks you off from the kingdom. It really does. It's funny how knowledge can keep you out of the kingdom. And it's not supposed to, but you're not supposed to hold on to knowledge. You're never supposed to hold on to it. You let it go, so wisdom can come and allow you to see. That's why when a teacher is teaching or whatever, you let the word go in one ear and out the other, and never hold on to the words. All right, I'm gonna go around the room. Yes, sir.
So I think that's why so many people miss it. And that whole concept that people think of God, they think, look upwards in the heavens, they look in the Bible. But to think that God put it in us, right in front of your nose, or just right there, and from the time we're born, we're taught to always look externally.
It's almost like a trick.
It's amazing, yeah.
I asked somebody at work the other day, how do you hide something from somebody, right? And they said, put it right in front of them. And you can hide it just by putting it right there. Yes, Tay.
Is that why God didn't want Adam to eat from the tree?
Yes.
I didn't hear it.
Because it would give, she said that's why God told Adam not to eat the tree of knowledge, because it would confuse him. It would make it difficult for his life. He would think like he is God. And the knowledge of good and evil is a big issue in folks' lives. It is unfortunate. Yes.
I was going to say, I don't see anybody else except you and maybe one other person actually pointing people back to that. Everybody else is like just totally confused and lost. And
I can tell you how to get there. One step to getting there is to know that you're wrong. When you can know you're wrong without excuses, you can enter into the kingdom.
Have you entered the kingdom?
Yes.
How do you
The
know?
one within. I don't know what's going to happen when I die and get ready to go up yonder to those pearly white gates.
How do
You know how the white gates are up there and the black gates are downstairs?
I don't understand. How do you
Why do we always have to be in the Word?
I just asked the question, how do you know?
How do I know?
Yeah, and how can you prove it?
And how can I prove it?
Yes.
In a moment, I'll answer that. Don't let me leave this room today without answering that. All right?
Die, so you can answer.
I'm sorry. Right. And I don't want to die before I answer it. Very good question. Very good question. Let me take this hand first, and then I come to you. Yes, sir.
You were talking about going dumb, and I was going for a walk this morning, and I was out at the park, and I had these, people were walking by me, and then I had these thoughts in my head, like comments, just really, like it was feeding me thoughts and words, like it was me talking, and I just saw that that's what it was. It was like trying to give me knowledge about things that I have no idea, and so it's like it's playing like your conscience, and when I recognize that, it just withers away more and more. But it's like, I believe, I can see that is, becoming dumb, not going with those words and thoughts in our heads that seem like us, that seem like reality, but it's not. Or it may even be reality, but it's not the right source.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. Personally, to me, this is why what Jesus is to me. It's so easy to say that He's my personal salvation, but in this case, I began to see why. A couple of weeks ago, you you told me that I may have had the words right, but I'm still feeling anger and resentment. And that is what, and the worst thing about it is I don't know what to do to rise above that.
Right.
That's why I always silently pray to Jesus to at least help me guide me to a new and better motivation than just anger.
Yes. In order to get over that, you got to just know that you don't know, that you've learned all this stuff. Like what Lasante asked me, you know the knowledge of good and evil. You study them both well, and so you know them both. And all it's doing is confusing you and confining you. It's preventing you from entering into the kingdom, because you cannot enter in and be God too. So you have to drop all the stuff that you've learned. Don't try to learn the truth. The truth has to be discovered on a moment-by-moment basis. You cannot learn the truth. And that's what a lot of people have done. They've learned it, and then they pick it up so easy now that they don't even know that they're learning it.
So,
they'll hear the preacher say something, and they'll quote it perfectly. And to them, they feel like they have discovered that truth, but in reality, all they've done is learn that truth. And so they say, oh, wow, I'm in the kingdom, I got it. But all you've done is learn. It's weird how that mind can work like that and deceive you.
So that's what Jesus means, that you have to be a child to enter the kingdom. You must
Yes.
not learn, but discover in the moment.
That's right. Life is not about learning. Life is about discovering. It's about being aware. It's not about learning. Now, physical things you got to learn. You want to build a house. You want to be a good cook. You want to do that. You got to learn. But that's not life. They're just physical things that you carry out. Life itself is about discovery. And the one thing that you do once you enter into the kingdom, you never, ever, ever make another decision about right and wrong. Because you don't know right and wrong when you see it. A lot of people pounce on other people with truth, thinking that they're being right. They're wrong. You don't know right from wrong. It has to be shown to you. You can't learn right from wrong. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Because what could be right this moment could be wrong in the very next moment. But you base it on this moment and you just apply it into your future.
But there's basic things that are right and wrong. I mean, I think this is just something that's innate. I mean, when you're born, I just think you know right from wrong.
We all know right from wrong.
Yeah.
But you get away from it and then you start judging it based on your intellect. Mm-hmm. But as innocent kids, you know right from wrong just by seeing it. You're allowed to see it. But the parents don't like it and they mess you up so that you forget that way. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think that what you were saying about the being or going dumb thing, I feel like part of that is also that from historically, I feel like people have always been taught to go to the leader of the church or go to the pastor, and it really, like, historically was more of a control thing for political sake or whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
But it was all about, like, come to me because I know. So people have been taught that, like, the truth is that the answer is always within us. And
always.
It's not outside of us.
That's
but
right.
we're always taught, go to somebody else knows, look everywhere else. You know, it's like study, like memorize things. And that to me is a very mechanical version of, it's not spirituality, but it's religious, but it's not really spiritual. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I feel like that's something that just historically has always happened, and I think people still do that, and obviously in some churches because they want you to keep coming back and like sucking on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they want to be your leader. They want you to feel like they got it, they hear from God, and you got to keep coming to them.
Right.
And then so that they can control you. They don't want you free. But a real man would point you back to it within yourself so you can go free. Christ even said that. You know, like when the people were bragging about him. He was like, why are you guys bragging about me? You could do it too. And greater work shall you do. It's not me, it's the Father in me. It's not me. But they were carried on, you know, like, oh wow, you're so tough, you know, you're so cool, you're so smart, how you get it? You know. And they were carrying on about him, he like, back off.
Mm-hmm. But it's also, I think sometimes, and I have this conversation with my mom sometimes because I feel like that's the thing I feel like that separates people from really what, from their potential, is that they're always looking outside of themselves for everything. And it's an easy way to do it in a way because you kind of can see, like, it's easier to put it outside of myself because then I'm not responsible for it.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? It's like I think that it's from history and we're taught that or whatever, but then it also becomes an easy out to not be responsible for your own life.
But the beauty about it, once you go within, once you enter into the kingdom of heaven, you want to be responsible. It's a joy living from that source.
Because there's a freedom in that.
As a matter of fact, it takes away responsibility. It just happens through you. It causes you to do what you need to do. Isn't that amazing? Mm-hmm. But you're right. People have been so dumbed down. They want somebody else to just guide them and lead them. And, you know, it's crazy. It's insane, but it's a setup. Absolute setup. Yes, sir.
Doesn't that answer what you guys are saying right now, why people flip out, why Christians are...
Yeah, they're going crazy nowadays.
Because of that same reason. They're looking externally.
And a lot of young people are going insane with this because they've been like so taught about God and into the Bible and, oh, I hear the Lord's voice and the Lord's voice talk to me. And now they're thinking God's voice is this voice that's talking to them when it's really the voice of the evil one. That's what they're hearing. But they think that they're hearing. If you look at some of the bums on the street, they're all talking to God. And if you follow their history, they started off in church, listening to the voice of the Lord. Isn't that amazing? The devil just plays such a trick. I know Sherry was just jumping to tell us about her impression of Christ, and more than Pat. And time is going by so fast already. Sherry, what are you thinking?
What am I thinking?
Yes, ma'am, about Christ.
Well, I have to say that I can't help but really appreciating what Ermias just said about the now, being in the present. And I don't know, that just says a lot. And then what you said about getting there by not being angry about ourselves or by seeing our wrongs, admitting it. And to me, that's enduring when we can feel and see our own wrongs without, without going into emotion about it.
Yeah, if you're going to sin, at least know you're a sinner.
Yeah.
Like, I'm wrong, I can't help it, I'm going to do it anyway, but at least I know I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You have a chance to overcome that. But if you don't, if you're going to do these things and don't admit you're wrong, you're just going to live a life of hell.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You were telling me last week some stuff you discovered about yourself. Well, you remember that? Mm-hmm. Well, give me an example of what you were telling me.
I was just saying why, it's like why I do things that I know are wrong, or just in general. It just made sense when you just said that. You like I was saying, people always tell you, oh well, you're a good person, but you just do bad things sometimes. But in reality, you're saying, like, if you're that way, that you're really a son of your father, which is either God or the devil.
Yeah.
So I was like, just realizing that it's okay to admit that, and to understand that that's where it's coming from, because it was so almost like taboo to say something like that, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm admitting something like mine, it's going to take my soul or something,
Yeah.
So now that I've realized that, it's helped a lot, so I can begin to overcome these things.
Anybody who tells you that you're a good person and you're doing wrong, you slap them and send them home.
I mean, that's like always the thing, I'm a good guy, but
Yeah, and I hear that a lot. Oh, you're a murderer. Yeah. You're a good person. You lie and cheat and steal, but you're a good person. Mm-hmm. So if I'm a good person, why I'm doing all these things, and how would I get better if I'm already good but doing wrong? Right. It is. I hear that all the time now. They're of their father, the devil.
Right.
It's like they want to help you, but they don't want to hurt you or something. It's insane.
Well, yeah, and I convinced myself of the same thing too,
Yeah.
I just never understood, but it was just, it's like shining a light on me, just knowing that it's like we're starting out on the wrong side, basically.
Yes.
Our journey is to get to the right side, and we're taught opposite, like we're all good, and
It's such a lie.
Right.
Even Christ said our hearts are wicked. Mankind's heart is wicked. So if we are wicked hearts, how are we going to be good, It's insane. I'm glad you're seeing that. And it frees you up to see that, right?
Yeah, it allows me to start realizing, be honest, totally honest with myself about, like, 100% of who I am, and, all the little facades and images I have of myself, or, can fall away, I can actually become a better person.
That's another key to enter into the kingdom. When you can know that you're no good, that you're not this good person that you've been told that you're trying to deceive yourself with, that's another key to entering into the kingdom. Because unless you can admit you're wrong, you're never going to be made right. And it is freeing up when you see that. A lot of people don't know you feel free when you can admit you're no good. Right. Isn't that amazing?
And that was the first step when you say, you have to accept any situation that you go through first, even if it's uncomfortable, before you can get past it. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in it.
Yeah.
Forever. And
yeah. I told one of my sisters, and she's real churchy and really into the church now. And we were at a funeral and I told her that she was evil. And she hadn't gotten over that yet. And that was like almost 10 years ago. Because she doesn't want to see that she is evil. Because she got the word in her mouth, the Bible under her arm, and she is as evil as they come. As a matter of fact, one of my aunts had a person living with her that she didn't want to live there, and she was scared to put her out. Now, I don't want to hurt her feeling. I was like, all right, let me take care of this. And so I called my sister. I said, look, you got to go over there and get this person out of my aunt's house. And I said, if you can't do it, send my evil sister over there with the Bible. She'll get her out of there. And they all laugh because they know she's evil, but they're afraid to tell her that she's evil. Because they don't want to hurt her feelings.
I was just talking about that, like the Christian way, you know, the church-going Christian way is like, it's crazy. Like, they really make you think you can't do anything fun, you can't.
Yeah.
So people are like, well, I don't want to do this because I'm trying to be get a relationship with God. It's not like you can't have fun and
I know. That's why young people don't want anything to do with it. Because it looks like it's so boring. Now you're a Christian where you just sit home and do nothing. Don't laugh, don't play, don't make jokes. Right. Just sit around and be holy. All in the name of Jesus. Isn't that amazing? Yes, sir.
I've thought about that. I think, this is my opinion, I think one of the reasons why people don't like to admit that they're evil is because somehow they think, by admitting that it's a permanent condition.
Right.
They think that it's a permanent condition, and really it's the other way around. If you don't admit you're evil, it keeps you in a permanent wrong state.
Yeah.
But admitting that you're evil, it sounds very harsh, but like he was saying, it's the truth. But it's not like you're admitting I'm evil. I'm always going to be evil. There's no hope for me, and it's not that. There's real hope in admitting the truth. But I don't think people somehow they don't see that, and I think that's somehow that they don't want to admit it for that reason.
That is absolutely right. And I was just thinking as you were speaking, 21 years ago when I asked God to let me see myself, He allowed me to see I was evil. Really, I was just absolute black, dirty, burnt evil. And in that, though, it was freeing up, just like that. I didn't think, oh my God, I'm going to stay this way, or I would never change. And no one had told me that once I see that in that very moment I'll be free. But I was just free the moment that I can truly see that I was evil. And you're right, they don't know. They think that it's going to keep it. They think it's a negative, but it's really, if we can use the word positive, it's a positive to see and admit that you're evil without any excuses. But people won't do it because they've been told they're good. They've been lied to. Yes.
Is there like it might be a problem for people too. Is there a separation? Because people think like if you're evil, you're like the people that are murderers and do these really horrible crimes and things like that, as opposed to just being like doing lying and stealing and cheating, things like that, which are still all under the same umbrella as evil. So maybe people don't want to admit that because it puts you in that category.
Evil is when parents turn their children from innocence to anger. That's evil. Evil is when parents spoil their children. Like at Christmas time, they buy them every toy in the store. Mm-hmm. That's evil. Evil is when you're not honest with one another. You won't really tell each other the truth. Or if you tell each other the truth, you judge that person for being wrong. That's evil. So evil is not just a murderer or a rapist or whatever. Evil is happening just in such little ways that people are not calling it evil. They're calling it good.
Right, but there's no separation is what I'm saying.
No.
That's where I think people, you call yourself evil in that manner, you feel like, oh, you're in the same boat as this murderer or rapist.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And that would be like just too much for,
for them to bear. Huh? Your ego can't handle that.
Right.
Isn't that amazing? And the time is like flying by. I haven't told y'all what I thought about Jesus. Yes, ma'am.
I was just going to say there's this Balinese phrase, which is Buddha Iya Dua Iya, which is man is a demon, man is a god. Both things are true. And I think, and it's like basically saying, we possess lightness and darkness, but your life kind of becomes about acknowledging both things, but then choosing which, I guess, path you're going to live on, or choosing what, I guess, which father you choose to serve, I guess is what you would say. And I think if you can, it's kind of like, in AA, you have to acknowledge that you're an alcoholic before you can become sober.
Right.
So it's kind of like acknowledging that it doesn't mean that if, like he was saying, it doesn't mean that if you have darkness, that you're condemned to that for the rest of your life, but it's just acknowledging that it's there so that you can choose something different.
Well, I don't quite understand that because I'm kind of dominant and black, but or black and dumb. I'm sorry. Which comes first? Blackness or dumb? I'm sorry, Rhonda. Every time I say that, I know I'm gonna get to Rhonda with that. But
See, you're doing face.
Holy water. Holy water.
Rhonda's like,
Whatever.
it is just a joke, but she takes it, so I love making her react to it. But you're already evil, and the only choice you make is to recognize that you are evil.
Mm-hmm.
And so that you can overcome that, and then things start to change.
Right.
But you can't be evil and good and serve both. You're only
Right.
of
Exactly.
one.
Exactly.
And so we're all, in that fallen state.
Right.
And that's what we're overcoming.
Right.
It's that state. So it's not a choice, really. It's just a recognition that you are evil.
Right. So that.
Because we can't make choices.
Well, I guess if you can recognize what is. It's a choice. It's a choice to even be willing to look at it. Do you know what I'm saying? Or to see what is true, so that you can discuss. Like that itself is a choice, as opposed to just being like, no, I'm good.
In short, there's only one truth.
Mm-hmm.
Is that we are not God. We are evil. We're not Him. If you can recognize that one truth, you could be saved. That's the only thing you need to recognize. I mean, like Dwayne Jr. has done. He recognized that he's an evil person. He's not God, and that's why he started to change. He's starting to wake up. He's starting to enter into the kingdom because he sees that he is not the person that he thought that he was. He's not this good and holy guy. He's an evil man, and that's the beginning of his salvation. That's why he's changing, because he has recognized that and accepted it. And when you can accept reality, life starts to change. But most people will not and cannot, won't not accept that. Yeah. You can't find a handful of people who would truly accept that they're evil. They'll even say it because I say, oh, you should accept it. Okay, I accept it. But they really don't mean it. And you can tell because they have no insight, they're not waking up, they're just accepting stuff because somebody said it. And that's not going to change you. You had your hand a while back about Jesus, and we have about 5 minutes left. And I know Patrick wanted to say something about it.
Better go to Patrick then.
So you need more than 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, Pat.
I don't think really about Jesus that much unless I sometimes read the Bible and then I'm amazed and all that. But it just occurred to me, and I hadn't thought of it this way before. What he is like the perfect son, because his dad, his father, he did the will of his father. I mean, it was direct. He didn't rebel against him. He had a mission. He did it. He didn't complain about it. And almost nobody on earth that I see is willing to do that and kind of have that direct relationship without rebellion. To me, that was the most powerful thing that he did. And that's when I see, that's where I really see the contrast between the way he lived and the way I am.
Yeah.
It's very, very clear that way to me.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Can you tell me in 1 minute
Yeah, I can.
about Jesus?
I can do this. If you're going to commit evil, and if you're going to sulk or be angry, which is the same thing, you have to do that with either by yourself or with like-minded, like-spirited people. You can't have an angel standing in the room. You can't have a prophet. You can't have Jesus. You can't have men who don't fail to go along. I mean, who fail to go along with you. They stand against. They're in the room. They have this presence, this consciousness that you don't have within, but they have. And that consciousness will stop the party. It will ruin what you're trying to do. That's why everybody who commits evil has to do it away from consciousness. They have to do it away from conscious men. They don't invite them to the party. But if you had that same consciousness that they have, that unbending consciousness that Jesus died to give us, and for some reason God won't give it to us until He died. I don't really been pondering the mystery of that lately, but He had to wait till His Son committed that sacrifice for us, so that this same consciousness, this strength that some of that the old prophets had and stuff would be given to us. And without that, we're just getting with like-minded folks or getting by ourselves and doing what we want to do. If we just had this bubble above us that showed our evil thoughts or hearts, like the Verizon map, and it was exposed to everybody, especially to a man who didn't have the same bubble, who had a different one, you could not sin.
Wait, ask me your question again. Ask me that question again. I told you not to let me die or leave this room before.
I was just asking, how do you know that you're in the kingdom of heaven, and can you prove it?
Oh, okay. I know it because I have perfect peace and a sound mind. I know it because I can now see where once I was blind. And I know it because I have no control of my own life in doing the things that are right to do. It's like I can't help myself. It's the only thing I can see to do. And beforehand, it was totally the other way around. I had no peace. I could only do wrong. And I was controlled by a different source.
Can you give me an example?
Of what?
Of something that you've done that you said that you can't do wrong. I mean, what do you...
I have to be honest with others and myself. I don't think about lying to them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before I would have considered lying to keep from hurting their feelings. But I can recognize that the thing that is hurting in them is not their feelings, is their ego, which is of their father, the devil. And that's what's being protected. And I want them to overcome that without even thinking about wanting them to overcome it. I just want them to know that there is another way, where they can have real love and real life and have peace. And that's what Christ came. He said that He came so that we can have a way back. If we believe Him, which is the truth, then we can believe back into God. And so if I am a representation of that, of what my brother did, and Christ was my brother, then I want them to believe the truth too, so I have to speak the truth without resentment. And the ones that believe that truth, they start to change just like that. The one who really believes is in their heart and not in their intellect. And I keep saying that because I recognize the intellect is so in the way. Because you can believe the truth with the intellect and not be changed. But you can believe it in another kind of way and be changed. And so when I speak the truth to these, when I'm honest with myself and speak the truth to others, it's because I know if they can just believe the truth, they would go free. God would take hold of them. And that's what Christ was all about. He gave us something to believe in. Because we live by faith. We live by what we believe in. And before Christ, people only believed lies. They didn't really have a way back. It was hard for them to just live by the letter of the law. But, it's like the Christians do now. They try to live by the letter. They try to live by what the preachers say about God. And the preacher's not really speaking the real truth about Him so that people can see and go that way. And so I want people to have that. And He said that I came to bring you peace. Yes. And if you don't have that peace, you have not believed Him. You believed about Him. You believe what you heard about Him. But if you haven't believed in Him so that you can believe in the source that was in Him. He said that greater works shall we do, even in what He's done. But you got to have that right belief. You got to believe in the Father. You got to believe that the Son was telling the truth. So you can believe back into the Father and become one with Him. And I love that, man. And it's so simple to do it if you just believe the truth. But people react to the truth when they believe it. They either latch onto it in their head or they overreact to it, and I'm out of time already. Whatever. Merry Christmas.
For more information or to purchase a copy of this show, visit us on the web at www.bondinfo.org or call 1-800-411-BOND.
You're already home.